Morning, folks. I thought I would do an important update. The hair has been cut, finally. We've just washed the hair. The hair has been cut. We're still kind of damp. These are the most important things. We've got two really important things to discuss before we move on to how I completed my incursion goal, how I feel the league has been going, and just some general chats about PoE. So before we begin that, I just wanted to announce to everybody that I am actually running for best hair in PoE. This is a sub contest between all the sort of channels on PoE. It's like a sub context within PoE. Some people play for best build. I'm playing for best hair. Right now it's been cut, so it's all the same length. And if we take a look at a few pictures and we jump into some important stuff, you can see here that we've at the back of the hair, if it's tied up, we've got the line going around the head for the clean action at the bottom. You can see, if it ties up nicely, looking side on, you've got the lines. It's looking really clean, and just wanted to let everybody know that after 2 years of growing my hair, we're now entering into the competition for the cleanest cut in PoE. So Math'll move over, get out the way, mate. There's a new hair king in town. Okay, now that that's out of the way and we've won the competition, I wanted to discuss my experience in Incursion, what exactly I've been doing to have so much fun, and what basically I intend to keep doing to have so much fun. So, here we go. We have got a few things. Okay, I've got some clips for you. I've got some discussions for you. Well, not really discussions, but a few little things to talk about and just chat about. So we take a look in the currency tab. The first thing you're going to notice is I've got a mirror. Yes, I own a mirror. This is the first time in PoE that I have owned a mirror ever. Not even in standard. I've got enough currency to buy one in standard, just about, but I've never gone for it. I managed to get one in a temporary league. How I have done that has just been sheer willful grind and just determination to actually progress in the game. I'll explain a little bit more. But we have got a mirror, and we have got, in the keep tab, one Xerfi's heart. Perfectly divined. It's not 100 exalts, it's about 70. Maybe, I don't know what the price is today. And we found the shops. So we've got a Xerfi's heart and a mirror. That was my league goal. When I started the league, I wanted to set out to do something that I've not done before in PoE. That's why I play the game. Each league I like to do something that I've not done before. This league, it was farm Uber Elder and push past the 50 exalt mark. Now I know for a lot of people, 50 exalts is a huge amount of currency. I'm not stupid. I know that. But for me, each league I make 50 exalts relatively quickly, just because I play the game so much, and I can explain what I did to maybe help you guys out in the future. But after 50 exalts, what happens is I have about 3 builds, or 3 or 4 builds. I have about a 6 to 7 exalt 6 link on each of the builds. I then have maybe an exalt on average gear, and then maybe on each of the builds I've got like a 2x ring. And the build works really well. It hasn't got amazing gear, but it's got slightly better than average gear. It's normally got one good piece. And then after I've done 3 or 4 builds, I'm ready to quit the league. And I can't be bothered to make any more currency. And then I liquidate all this stuff, I sell everything off, and I just empty it. And I just have a currency tab that then moves into standard. That's what I've been doing. This league, I've really decided to go for it. And I've played a lot more than normal, not just for playing sake, but because it's actually been fun, and I've just wanted to see what it's like to try and make a lot of currency. I've come across some interesting things, which I'll talk about. So, number one, how did I make a mirror? I feel like making a mirror is a mixture between luck, grinding, and just like sheer determination and grinding. I think anybody can get one if they put enough time in. And if they really dedicated in not spending currency. So just so you're not getting bored, if you want to see some clips, and then we'll carry on the talk, here are some clips that I can show you. So here is me purchasing a mirror. One sec, I have to just find another clip. But here we go. This is me purchasing a Xerxes heart, sorry. So we managed to pay, I don't know if you can quite see it there, but it was 69 or 68 exalts, and we managed to purchase a Xerxes heart after a lot of grinding, and I was really pleased with it. I've used it, it's pretty fun. However, I think to get the most use out of it, I would need the Soul Eater flask, which costs 16 exalts. Then I've pretty much got permanent Val skill, which means permanent Soul Eater, and I think it's really good. It's probably, I would say, mixed with the flask, better than a Headhunter. But, and then we've got here a clip: thick thighs save lives. Okay. Next, what we began to do was we began to doctor farm. So I've got a few clips for you. Again, just get them out there early so you can see them before you all get bored. So this is clip number 1 of the card. It's kind of small. We can zoom in a little bit for you, but we began doctor farming just for pure fun. You can see here I opened a strong box, it zinged, and you know, open the strong box, it zinged.
Oh, I got a doctor card.
And it's a doctor card. That came in about 85 maps. I then, after playing a little bit, managed to corrupt a pair of 2-socket Tomb Fists. 2-socket Tomb Fists with basically perfect rolls. I corrupted them. This was my first time using the Corruption Temple, really. I got +1 maximum frenzy charge and +2 to socketed projectile gems. These sold for, I think they were 9 exalts because they were a really good roll. I think I could have got a little bit more for them if I'd have sat on them for a bit longer, but I just wanted to get rid of them and collect the currency so I could go towards buying a Xerxes heart. I'm now really conscious that my hair is looking really wet, but whatever, it is soaking wet right now. So there we go, with +1 frenzy charge and socketed projectile gems. Next up, we farmed again, and we got the doctor card number 2. Doctor card number 2 came after about 240 maps playtime. This one was an off-screener.
Oh! Yeah!
You can see my juicy reaction. Oh! Yes! Let's go! Oh! Woo! Doctor number 2 coming in. It's the boy. Okay, so as you can see, I was pretty pleased with Doctor number 2. I was not expecting to get doctors. I was not expecting to get 2 Doctor cards in about 240 maps with 8 Exalts and 11 Divines. My luck was off the charts. I had a shit ton of Quant gear. I was absolutely juicing them up. 4 Sextant, Alk, Val, everything imaginable. I was just playing purely for my own enjoyment, trying to make the maps as juiced up and as fun as possible, and I got a 2nd Doctor. We then... You know, you can see how this currency happened. We then carried on farming and we got a 3rd Doctor. The 3rd Doctor was just bullshit. So I just watched England lose against Belgium in the 3rd place playoff match. And you can see I was bitching about it.
Ah, well, dog shit performance. Same old England. Next.
Right, same old England next. I then found a Diviner's box which had increased quantity. I put 1 Alchemy Orb on it. It got extra cards and Quant. I threw out some KB, and there it was.
Oh my god, what? No way.
There it was, mate. A Doctor card out of a box. That was Doctor card number 3. That was in about 270 maps. So, in about 300 maps, we'd got 3 Doctors. We'd got like 11 Exalts. 9 Exalts, sorry, 11 Divines, and it was just going great. That currency I put towards, after selling my build, I put towards all the stuff that I'd got. I'd sold like all my builds off. I kept my mirror. I put all my currency, like the glove sales, the 3 doctor cards, all the like jewelers, the diffusers, the everything I'd made. I sold it all off, and I went and I purchased the Xerfes. So how did I make the mirror? Because my goal was always to leave this league with a mirror. Once I realised it was achievable, that's what I wanted to do. And then once I'd got the mirror, I did not want to sell it. I bought it for 119 exalts. And I ended up getting an offer for 180 exalts. So that would have been a free, just a free straight up, what's the word I'm looking for? Profit of like 70, 60 exalts, whatever it was. Can't remember what I just said. But here's the picture of me buying the mirror. I was streaming late at night. I forgot to clip it. Nobody was in there. And I paid 120 exalts for the mirror. This is the most expensive trade I've ever done. It's the most expensive trade I've ever done. And probably ever will be, I imagine. I can't really think of anything else that would be more. The only thing I've come close to in terms of... I'll just tie my hair up. The only thing I've come close to in terms of this amount of currency was a +2 barrage rat's nest in standard. A perfectly rolled +2 barrage rat's nest in standard that cost me 100 exalts. So, that's where that's going, kind of. Probably straight into standard, this mirror. And that's the most expensive purchase I've made. So you can see I've been playing a lot of PoE. I've been doing a lot of goals that I've never achieved before, and I've been truly enjoying it. So, you've seen how I basically made the money for the Xerfes Heart. I got all this quant gear. I blasted maps. What I've been doing is this. I've been doing 4 sextants, Alkvald, and I've just been running them. I've just been properly running them. My hair is looking not great today. It's just been washed though. Just running them, Alkvald, and just really going for it. You can see here's a burial dump tab of burials that I've got. You can see how you can imagine if we look in the map tab, all these burial chambers that we've got through, and with Alkvald so many that we've almost filled a tab up of Alkvald relic chambers, and this isn't including the ones that we've run and just deleted. So we've been doing a lot, and we've been playing a lot. So the way I made the mirror, and I guess, was I had 10 exalts. I played the league solo self-found. I made some gear. I played the game on my own. It was solo self-found, and I just got around about 5 or 6 exalts worth of stuff. After a while I got bored and I transferred into a temporary league, and I began to play sort of catch up. If you're 2 weeks behind in a league, it does feel a bit like catch up, but that's the way it is in PoE. So what I did was I just got my build strong enough using trade to just kill red maps, and I went straight into red maps and I filled out all my atlas basically. Once I'd figured out I could fill out the atlas and do everything, I did every single map with arc totems. I didn't enjoy it. After a while, I was really struggling playing arc totems. I just wasn't finding it fun. So I decided to kill Shaper, kill the Guardians, kill Ubrit Zeri 3 times, kill the Val Temple, kill everything in the game on that build. Fully upgrade my Pantheons, and keep mapping until I had a map tab full of red maps. I would just do 13s, 13s, 13s. I'd get loads of +1s. I'd sell the 14s, do 13s. Once I'd got a huge bank of 14s, I'd run all the 14s, and so on. And I was making good currency selling these red maps. After a while, I got bored of that, and I decided, if I'm going to get fed and I'm going to make a lot of currency, I'm not lab farming, so I'm not going to hit a GG enchant. I'm not quickly mapping because my build was slow, so I wasn't going to farm the temple and get loads of cool temple stuff. So I needed to do higher level content. So I created a juggernaut, and I did Uber Elder. I did 15 Uber Elders. That minimum involves 8 Guardian kills 15 times. So we're talking 100 plus Guardian kills. That's 100 plus tier 16s. That's at least 10 tier 16 temples dropping maps. So, you know, you can imagine I was making a lot of currency just off good drops, good bases dropping. Then you include Uber Elder itself. The sheer amount of red maps and high content I was doing, I was making really good currency. But nothing crazy. I had a couple of 2x bases that sold off Uber Elder, a couple of 2 Exalt jewels, a couple of good rings for an Exalt. And eventually I got bored and I sold my build off and I began to flip. And I flipped Watcher's Eyes. I just searched up Watcher's Eyes and I flipped Watcher's Eyes until I made about 50 Exalts. The biggest flip I did was somebody sold me a 5 Exalt jewel and I immediately sold it for 10. And that was just obviously a free 5 Exalts to me. That gave me some manoeuvring room that I could take a gamble on some. So because instead of having the 5 Exalts now to mess around with and try buy some jewels, I had 10 Exalts, which meant I could go for some things that might not sell or might break even. So what I was doing was I was buying well-rolled Watcher's Eyes for probably slightly more than I should have, but I knew they were kind of worth. What I mean by that is, let's say a Grace movement speed gem, one of these. Say one of these that sells with movement speed was like 2 Exalts at the time. Somebody would put one up for 1 Exalt, and I'd divine it. Sometimes it would hit, and I'd sell it for like a lot more. Sometimes I'd just be the only guy online, and instead of selling it for 1 like I bought it, I could sell it for 1.5. I did this a lot. I basically just no-lifed it. Honestly, I'm not trying to say I did anything special or anything interesting. I just basically, I would buy a Vitality Watcher's Eye example. These were 5 Exalts. This was the price. Every time somebody put a Vitality Watcher's Eye up, it was 5 Exalts. So sometimes somebody would put one up for 4 for a quick sale. Now, Exalts were so expensive. Exalts were almost 200 Chaos when I was doing this. So it might be a lot harder to do it now. But when an Exalt was 200 Chaos, I was able to offer somebody half an Exalt. And I don't think it was twigging in the head how much an Exalt was, really. Because if you have a jewel, let's say you've just played the game and you have a jewel that's worth 5 Exalts, and someone offers you 4.5, you're probably thinking, is it going to sell? How many people want it? Is it... I need my build to improve. A quick 4.5 Exalts would be really nice. I would buy it for 4.5 Exalts and I'd list it for 5. And that would honestly be 100C profit. And it might take 2 hours to sell. So I'd just carry on mapping. I'd carry on doing the Guardians. And then somebody would ding me. My Watcher's Eye would sell. And it would be 100C. You do that 10 times, all of a sudden you've got 1,000 Chaos. And this was working because Exalts were so expensive. Right now, if you were to try it, it would probably be a lot harder. So I did that, and I made roughly, it was like 30-40 Exalts. Obviously, whilst I was still playing, stuff was dropping, things were happening, and I made my extra 50 Exalts. Once I'd sold my Righteous Fire build, I had some really good gear. My Scepter sold for 15, and honestly, it could have gone for 50 if I'd have kept it for Standard. I didn't see anything like it in Standard, but I'd rather have 15 in a temporary league. So I got 15, I got my chest piece, I got a Corrupted Combs with damage, you saw it. It was damage and extra fizz reduction. I bought that for 18, I sold it for 27. My belt sold for, I think it was about 6 Exalts. Gloves were 2 Exalts. My Watcher's Eye was 10 Exalts because I managed to get a really good Watcher's Eye because obviously I was buying them. And the jewel wasn't that popular at the time, and there was so many up that you could just do it. And that's how I made it, and I sold my builds off. So there's no big secret. Yeah, I flipped. Like, people seem to think it's a bad thing. If I can spot a jewel that's worth 6 Exalts and someone's put it up for 5 Exalts and they sell it to me, what's wrong with that? It's not like I'm a robot that's like automatically purchasing all these things. Like, sometimes I'd haggle, sometimes I'd buy them at the correct price, and I'd think, right, I'll buy them at the correct price at 6 exalts, and then sometimes just out of sheer luck, honestly, out of sheer luck, I'd come online the next day, and the cheapest one would be up for 8 exalts. So I'd sign in and I'd go, right, 7 exalts. Huge undercut, buy an exalt, someone would buy it, and I'd have a free exalt. So a lot of my currency came from Watch's Eyes, but the huge majority of it came from doing the Uber Elders, the red tier maps, and stuff like that. So once I'd got my mirror, and I'd got the little bit of extra cash off selling my build, I began to gear up a magic find. Now my magic find didn't look like this. This belt wasn't a quant belt. This belt was a Bisco's leash. No, this belt was a resistance belt. These pyre rings were some shit venters. I had a Bisco's. I had the 1C Piscatas. This was 1 chaos. This was 20 chaos. This was like 10 chaos. These were 25 chaos. These were like 3 chaos. It was a really cheap build. Over time, after getting the 2-3 doctors, we've upgraded it. We've got pyre rings and stuff like that. So it's just been slowly upgraded, and I'm just playing this build purely for fun. I could definitely sell these. This one's like a perfectly rolled pyre ring. This was like I bought for 6 exalts. When I look online today, they're like 10. Now whether they actually sell for that, who knows. But basically, I've just put in a lot of time. So much time. I've played 3 days, 6 hours. I've played about 6-7 days on my Juggernaut. And I've got probably a day on the other 3 characters. So I've probably got like 13 days played. That is so much time. It's a hell of a lot of time. 13 days is 312 hours. That is a long ass time to play PoE. 300 hours. Now, maybe Zizarin, he says he does like 2,000 a league. But you know, I don't know. To me, playing a game, this is probably the most I've played a league. I've really enjoyed it. 300 hours in a league is not... It's not achievable for most people. You just don't have that much free time, and I understand that. So, that's what I'm saying. You don't need to do all this. You could just try flipping for a little bit. Also, something I did, which was very funny, just to end the video, was something ridiculous. Do I even have one to show you? Here we go. For some reason, I remember this now. Here's where another piece of my currency came from. I rolled an Ellie Hit build, right? That's where this whole meme video came from. When I played Ellie Hit, I decided to make that video. So when I played Ellie Hit, I paid about 10 exalts for my gear. All in all. By the time I'd finished, I'd ended up 6-linking 3 things super, super fast. That was like 15 exalts. That was pure luck. There's no... that's why I don't really include it. There's no skill to it. I literally 6-linked like 3 items in about 20 fuses. It was absolutely pure luck. It'll never happen again. So with those exalts, I had a Chinsol 6-linked, sorry, with those fuses. I ended up with a Chinsol. I sold my Law Weave, and the other stuff I bought like the rest of the gear for the elemental hit guy. When I'd play the elemental hit, I wasn't really enjoying it, so I sold it. My Zoph's amulet, I paid like 8.9 for it, and it went to like 15, and because it went to 15, that meant Zoph breaches was so expensive, right? Zoph breaches were coming up to be about 70 chaos for a Zoph run, right? So what I did, using my brain, was I bought about 1,000, I'm not even kidding, I bought thousands of these bows. And I'm revealing this to you, so the few people that have stuck by it, if it ever happens again, mate, don't tell anyone, keep it on the low, you know? If you're ever struggling to farm a Zoph, these fucking bows vendor for 10 shards, right? So I could vendor 10 of these bows for a Zoph run. These bows were like 2 chaos, right? So I was basically spending 20 chaos for a Zoff run.
See you.
I made so many Zoff runs and sold them for 70C. And I was making 50C every single time I sold them. If there was an auction house, if there was a bot, or if I was a bot, and I could have put a buy order in, buy Zoff bow at 2C, 3C, whatever, I could have bought thousands and had them in super rich, but I got mega bored of doing it. But that was a little tip. So that's how I made a lot of currency as well, selling Zoff splinters. So this league have just been super grinding. Sorry. That's meant to be exalted orbs. Does he really think he's getting that for? I don't even want to sell that, you know. It's way too cheap. But yeah, that's really how it happened. Some really good luck on 6 links, good luck in the temple, a lot of grinding burial chambers, a lot of doing hundreds of guardians. So when people put on that comment, how does this guy, I remember when I made the Ellie hit build, he said, how does this guy have 60 exalts? Well, I've now got a mirror, which is like 170, and a Zerfi's heart. So I've basically like quadrupled how much I've made in about 6 days. And how I've done that is just absolutely smashing maps and selling stuff and playing the game properly. So it is achievable. I don't play for long stints. I play for long stints, but it could be shorter. So yesterday I did 92 maps. 92 maps is a hell of a lot. But honestly, the maps should be like 2 to 3 minute runs. That's like 270 minutes. That's like 4 hours. Now, if you absolutely sit down, you can probably find 4 hours in the day. 4 to 3 hours to play. You clock in at 5 o'clock, you play till like 8 p.m. and you just smash maps. It is achievable. So there we go. I've well enjoyed Incursion League. I've super enjoyed Incursion League. It's why I've been playing it so much. And I know this video is kind of shit. And I know it's kind of like, I don't know how to word it. It's kind of like, yeah, get on with it, mate. We get it. That sort of thing. I don't like to talk about the currency in the game because that's not actually where the enjoyment comes from. The enjoyment comes from achieving a goal, and it just happened to be that this goal was tied to currency. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like kill Uber Elder, try Uber at 0 for the first time, but this goal was a currency based goal, so I thought I'd make this video. So there we go. Enjoy your day. Enjoy Incursion League. Hopefully you're having a good time. Thanks for all the good comments on the Ellie hit video. As always, if you want to support me, there's ways to do it. Twitch Prime for free. You can just subscribe on YouTube or just pop in. Just pop into the Twitch chat and just chat for a little bit. Do a song request. Hang out. That's cool. Don't need to give anything. You can just hang out and chat. And honestly, it makes the grinding so much more fun. Having different people pop in, chatting about different things. So there we go. Hopefully you're having a great day. Hopefully you get some good luck in the game.